Welcome to Marketing from X to Z,
the podcast specifically created for small business owners who want practical marketing advice without the hype.
We're your hosts. This is Mike Albuquerque representing Gen X.
And this is Liz Bachmann, our resident Gen Zer.
We're here to share honest insights, real-world experiences,
and tangible strategies to help your small business thrive.
Hey, Mike, do you want to start a podcast?
Let's do it. Welcome back to episode 7. And Liz, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about how to market your business without feeling salesy. But I don't mean like salesy as in doing sales. I mean like the ick that comes with salesy.
Okay, so the folks who just feel like they don't want to do the marketing because it doesn't feel good, doesn't feel warm and fuzzy for them to do so.
Yeah, it's like in their skin, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So why do you think some people dread or like have some hesitancy towards marketing their business and what they specifically sell?
So I think it's probably got to do with the fact that they have been on the other end of things, right? And they've felt icky when someone came to do, either do like a hard sell or a tone deaf sell to them, where it just they don't want to be that person,
okay.
Right? You don't want to be the person that's entering the room and everyone's going like, here they come again. Trying to sell me whatever
annoying.
It is. Yeah. Right. You don't want to turn people off in that sense.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that a lot of it comes from but I just don't want to annoy my audience. That's what I hear from a social perspective. I just don't want to annoy my audience. I don't want them to unfollow me because I'm being annoying. Mm-hmm. That's been our gist. So when people talk about the marketing, being salesy, what exactly do you think, what do you think they're referencing?
So I think they're just referencing that, just get the sale at all costs, go, mm-hmm. Right? Just in your face. It's like, you need to do this now, just very pushy.
Yeah.
As opposed to connecting with people.
Yeah, I do think that part of the confusion around some of this conversation comes from the fact that people, especially newer people, tend to fall into two camps, right? You've got the, I don't want to be annoying, I don't want to push the sale, and then I don't know what you sell, so how could I possibly buy from you group? Mm-hmm. And then we've also got the people that the only way they know how to market is to be salesy and is to be pushy and kind of tone deaf in that way. Mm-hmm. And so I think that fear of becoming that other person when where you're supposed to be is in the gray between the two.
Yes. That's the ideal spot.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to be annoying. You don't want to be repetitive. You don't want to be speaking a different language or speaking to people who are not your target audience just because you're in that mindset all the time. But you also don't want to be the wallflower that no one knows what they're doing, right? You want people to be aware. You want them to understand what you stand for.
Yeah.
And you want them to make the decision.
Yeah, I think when we try to make the decision for people is when other people start feeling gross. People typically, well-intentioned individuals showing up and talking about or marketing or sharing what they're selling when they're just providing an opportunity and information and allowing you to make the decision. I very rarely, I don't think I've ever had a sales conversation where that felt uncomfortable or where I was bothered by that. It is the other end. So for people who are feeling kind of like, I don't like that sort of vibe, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think that marketing ever becomes like smooth and authentic and easy, or do you think discomfort's just always going to be a part of it?
I think it has to be.
Okay.
I think it should be authentic. It should feel comfortable and natural. I think the problem is, we consider things in the extreme most often, right? Like the cases we've shared here of like either hard or just completely opposite. Mm-hmm. And those are the examples that come to our mind. And that's then gets in our head about, I don't want to be this or that. But your marketing should feel like an honest conversation that you have with the lead, right? When I was teaching advertising, I had some students in the first year who they would just feel like, advertising. Like I picked it. I don't know why, I just feel like advertising is such a dirty industry, right? It's just very negative. The way that I would present it is because they were thinking about the hard sell, the things you see in the movies, and the ads that are not necessarily funny or creating a connection with people, but just boom, 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 like hard hitting. Mm-hmm. And what I would say to them is that as your job is to facilitate a conversation between a customer who needs a product or service and a company that provides them. You're a connector. So that's how I think overall marketing should work as well. Right.
Yeah.
And if you start viewing it that way, like you're doing the company, in this case, your company, right, or the company that you work with, a favor by connecting them with customers who also need that. It's not like you're trying to sell people something they don't need or they don't want.
Yeah, or at least you shouldn't be doing that. It does happen. That's why those interpretations unfortunately are there. Is because people do that. But
listen, then there's a side of it which is making people want something, right?
Yeah.
So depending on the industry that you're in, yes, you should be making them want it, right? But that's also a different conversation.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with you that marketing should feel authentic. I do think that there is a certain component of, because I'm very extroverted. I think you are too, more or less.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm perceived that way a lot.
Ambivert. Yeah. So for me, like creating videos or taking photos or showing up at networking events and like building those sorts of connections is something that automatically feels natural because I don't have that like battery drain. I don't have that shyness. I don't have that anxiety. I think it's important not to confuse your feeling of discomfort with putting yourself out there with your feeling of discomfort around marketing or sales. Cause I think that those get conflated a lot as well.
Yeah.
Is fair. because things, and that part is the only way out is through. You have to practice. And that's a different sign, but I do think that they get confused. So
yeah, I mean, if you've ever started something new, let's take it outside of marketing.
Yeah.
Right. If you've ever started a new hobby or tried a new routine or build a habit, it always feels weird at first.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't know what you're doing. If it's something that you got to do in public, you probably feel a little bit dumb. Right. So, I mean, but you power through it. If it's something that you want, you get the reps in, right? You start doing it more often and then it starts feeling more and more natural.
Yeah.
And I think there's a portion of marketing that if you're doing it yourself or if you're a marketing professional, that includes that as well.
Yeah, I think it's an internal temperature check on why you're feeling discomfort. Like not just going, this is uncomfortable, but going, why is this uncomfortable? And if it's because your messaging feels fake, then that's something you need to pay attention to. If it's because you're just uncomfortable doing the thing, then that's a reps conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
So how do you create marketing and sales and not just marketing in general, by the way, like sales specific marketing that doesn't feel aggressive and pushy and like that bad taste in your mouth stuff?
Think they're from the viewpoint of the audience, right? Of the ideal client that you're speaking to, of the client that needs your service. And then that's going to feel a lot more authentic. Okay. If you're looking at things through that lens, if you're considering, if you've mapped out that person, right, and you know who you're speaking to, put yourselves in their shoes. What do they want to hear? What is going to make them feel like they have been seen and heard, and it's going to speak to what their needs are? Okay.
No, that definitely makes sense. Also, just a little bit of awareness too of people, I think is it sounds counterintuitive, but you have one mouth and two ears, right? So like making sure that we are listening and receiving what your audience is giving you and not just making assumptions on the map that you created, starting off with that map, but then applying it in real time to the people that you're interacting with.
Yeah, I like that. Let's talk about marketing when it's done well. Right. And I think we talked a little bit about, it might be interesting to talk a little bit about how we do this for ourselves. Okay. Right. How do we market ourselves in a way that feels genuine to values?
Do you want me to start?
Sure.
Okay. So there's a couple of different things that I do that it fits in with my value set. But honestly, this podcast is a really good example. So almost every great client that I've had, every great client relationship that I've had, that it's all gone well, typically things have come from me positioning myself in a place of expertise where I am helping them and I am providing knowledge and information, and that is making me an authority and a trusted authority. But it's also, I mean, will I ask for the sale intermittently? Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, do you want to buy this? That's fine. But for me, it's what feels most natural to me is giving what I can to people and then allowing that to kind of speak for itself in a lot of ways. So I think another really good example of this, like I just did our B&I presentation, right? And I got a sale directly following that. And it was for my 90-minute consulting session that I do for social media and content marketing. And we did the call. It was great. I had a wonderful time. It's like one of my favorite things to do. And at the end, after I ended the recording, I asked her, I was like, hey, like, so why did you decide to book with me so that I can improve my marketing moving forward? And what she told me two different things. She said, well, I saw the data and information results from your presentation, and that made it feel very tangible. And then when you were asked questions, you answered them fully in a way that I understood, and it made me trust you and realize I needed an expert to talk to. So that is more of how I do, how I approach my marketing. So showing results and just, I'm never going to be able to give away the farm. Yeah. That's not how my brain works about this. I'm not worried about holding in on anything. I mean, I'm sure in previous episodes I've gone like very detailed on a few things in my area of expertise. And that's because I'm not afraid of giving away the farm. Yeah. So I don't know. That's how that feels most authentic to me.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. I think there's a part of that is true for myself as well. I think the way that I stay true to my brand is like trying to position myself as like the helpful expert, but also infusing a lot of my personality into it. Yeah. Right. So my brand is a little goofy. It's a little out there. It's a little bold. It's none of those things dialed to the extreme, but they're dialed maybe to like 7 or 8. Right. So it's you get a little bit of that with everything. And that means that I'm very purposeful about what is the language that's used on the site. How, if I am recording a video, how am I presenting that? If I'm doing a presentation, I dial a couple things back a little bit, but I try to stay true to that. Right. Just to, coming from the background of advertising, there was a lot there that was let the work speak for itself, because the work, when it comes to like ads and ad campaigns, just speaks so loudly. Yeah. So, you'd often see student portfolios or professionals' portfolios there. It's just a list of ads. There's not a case study. There's not a description into there necessarily. And that was a change when I started working more on the branding side, and then subsequently when opening my own business and working with small businesses, it is all about the case studies and what the journey is, right? But by having a little bit of my brand personality in the way that I interact with people and the way that I speak online in my digital presence, and also just going with the spirit of not necessarily doing the sale, not being the wallflower where people don't know what I do, but just of, hey, we're going to meet, we're going to sit down. I want to understand more about you before we can talk about how I can help you.
Yeah, actually so I had a sales call yesterday for a company in the wellness space, and they came in and they fully expected me to just give a pitch. And I feel a little weird when I do that, because what I think makes what we do so unique and so effective is that it's tailored specifically to the business, it's like itself and the pain points of that business. So I'm not going to give you a pitch until you tell me about you and what you're trying to do. I'm not just going to sit down and be like, all right, so here's how a social media strategy works. Like, no, it's not really my energy, and it doesn't feel good to me. So instead, why don't you tell me a little bit about what's going on with you? Like, why did you want to talk to me today? Yeah. And going from there, and then hearing that, and like she had wanted like she had thought that she wanted my higher ticket item.
Uh-huh.
And you know what? I don't know that that was the best fit.
Yeah.
And so I introduced her to something that was slightly different because of the support that she informed me that she had.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to develop more of a rapport. I don't know if that's going to actually close or not, but like I was able to develop more of a rapport and trust because I wasn't pushing her into the top line item. It was more of a, wait, hold on, this actually fits your needs better than this does. And so I think that and so that's a big part of, that's not marketing, that's directly sales, but it's an extension of my marketing because my marketing is all education. Let's hear about your problem. Let's bring it down to the level where you can understand and make an informed decision, and not me throwing a bunch of jargon at you to make you feel like you don't know what's going on, so you have to hire me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Which is very authentic.
Yeah.
You know, it's and it's almost like I mean, it's not almost, it is putting, you know, the customer's interest first, right? What's going to work for them. And I think that's part of what we get with a lot of like our businesses and the ones that are in our network that are local businesses, where you are dealing with people, right? Where you are dealing with a business owner, yes, but you know, who has a small business of a certain size, where you know the employees' names, you know their faces, and so every decision that's made there is affecting individuals a lot more so than, you know, if you're working with a large corporation.
Yeah, I think that's why I like working with small business more as well, is because that fits more with my brand of marketing. The way I want to market and position my business, the way that I am like drawn to is really more akin to that small business sector.
Yeah.
So, let's see.
Do you want to talk about how we do this without how a small business owner can clearly communicate the value of what they're doing without being overly promotional?
You can't tell that we have questions we're reading off of, I'm sure. No,
absolutely not.
You've got to keep us on track. You don't. We are the king and queen of tangents. Yeah, I mean, when we think about how to do that without coming across as overly promotional, I think that the idea of overly promotional is subjective.
Okay.
So when it comes to social, because I can really speak to social better than I can speak to most anything else, right? So and this was a couple of years ago, actually. I did a audit for a tanning salon on their social content, and they told me that social media doesn't work for them, which it's not true. They told me it didn't work for them, right? And so I went and I looked at their Instagram because that was their primary social media channel. And what was there was a bunch of different flyers for discounts to go to the salon. And that was all that was there. Okay, if you use social media that way, it is not going to work because nobody wants that. Because you're thinking about you're not thinking about them. Now, if they had done something along the lines of showing a client coming in, like doing a vlog of a client coming in and then selecting their spray, and then the after, you don't want to show them getting it because, you know, that's not appropriate for social media, but like you like that process and that beginning and end and some inspirational type photos or some education on how to extend the life of your tan or that sort of stuff. And then you added in the information about the discounts, they would have seen a very different result and a much bigger community being built. So there's nothing wrong with going, we have this going on right now. There's like, that's not too promotional. And sometimes the most effective thing to do is go, hey, by the way, did you know I'm offering this for this?
Yeah.
Like, just clean and simple is sometimes a good thing, but if it is all you are doing, and there's no magic ratio. I know people give like an 80-20 rule, and like, yeah, okay, you should be doing
give, ask.
See, I don't believe in a magic ratio. I think that it's more of a feeling what's happening with your community, because some people are going to be much more like some audiences are going to be much more interested in hearing about the discounts and the things that are going on than other groups and other organizations. It's just like, okay, a good example of this would be a boutique. Okay, so a boutique, if you're only putting out sales flyers for that boutique, not only are you coming across as completely promotional, but you're also coming across as cheap.
Yeah.
Right? But if you are doing the boutique and you are showing people walking through the store, you're highlighting the staff members, you're doing little quirks. Is there a dog that's ever been in there? Like that sort of environment, then as long as it's balanced, it doesn't really, I don't know. I feel like it doesn't matter that much as long as it's balanced.
So what I'm interpreting is you're saying it is okay to be promotional on an individual post, but your overall strategy shouldn't necessarily just be that like hard hit deal, coupon, flyer, whatnot, right?
Well, unless your business model is I am the cheapest and the urgent. Like if you're if that is your business model, then I am not going to sit here and tell you can't do it. But most people, that is not their business model, but they accidentally show up like that.
Yeah. And I don't think those flyers are part of what helps you grow an audience on social if you're trying to do, right? No. That's speaking to your existing audience and saying, here's something that I'm offering to you. But if you're looking to grow the audience, you got to provide content and education, information, and things that are going to attract people.
You got to be interesting.
Yeah.
You got to be interesting. And yeah, so I think that's exactly what I'm getting at but like, you should still have a clear, like, call to action on things and things like that too. I'm not saying that that's not what you should do, but there just needs to be more to it.
Fair. I like that.
Yeah. What about you?
I mean, I do think that giving people some insight into what it is that you're doing, as opposed to just going in with the sell, right? What is the reason why they would want to make that purchase? Before you ask that question of like, buy my service, buy my product, hire me, right? Why? And because with the why also comes a lot of what you talked about, providing value to them, right? If you're talking on social, can I break down my offerings and explain certain things in a way that people can get value out of it without them having to necessarily hire me? Is the exchange that's happening, is it them following me? Right, and expanding my audience and awareness in that way. And, when it comes to overall marketing, I think that just, again, putting yourself in the customer's shoes and just thinking what would be valuable for that customer to get out of this, right? If it's in an email, if you're offering, you talked about ratios, right? When it comes to things like where tasks that you're doing repeatedly, there's no magic ratio. You want to try a few different things, right? But start somewhere, measure how that's doing, and then adjust as needed.
Yeah.
I've had clients who have done the ratios of the give, ask, where you're getting 3 messages that are going out that are promotional, that are educational, informational, right, about a product or a benefit, and then you have one that is like, hey, glad that you opened all of our previous emails about topic A or B or C. In case you're interested, we do have something that addresses that. And of course, with email platforms, you can do that, right? You can engage people who have opened messages previously. And then we've seen also, and we've A/B tested and seen, what if we just sent out promos? Here's a deal. Here's a price just lowered, cost cut. Here's a coupon, and tracked how those behaved. And they're, wow, I'm not breaking my laptop, but there's room for for it all. And if you have a big enough audience, I think you can get away with more of the salesy, promotionally type content if you're not looking to build up on it. But if you're trying to build an audience, then give them value, give them a reason to become part of your audience.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this does come down to what are your business goals and your marketing objectives, and then how can this be applied?
Yeah.
Right? That's why there's no one size fits all, this is the perfect formula type of thing, because your business goals are going to be specific, and they're also going to shift, right? Like as you build and grow and that sort of thing. So that's what I hear when you're saying that, is it needs to be tailored to your customer and what they are needing and wanting and the value, but it also needs to be, your approach is specific to the goals your business is trying to accomplish, and it needs to be intentional.
Yeah. All right, now let's go to the next one. What do you think is a strategy that you'd encourage small business owners to either rethink or completely avoid? And we talked a little bit about this beforehand.
We did talk about this a little bit. Okay. So you know how we talked about being authentic?
Yes.
And like not being tone deaf. Okay, so when it comes to don't trick people into doing things, basically. Like I was trying to think of a more eloquent way to put that, but honestly, like point blank, like don't trap or trick people into conversations because that's not going to benefit you in the long run.
Yes.
Like, me and Mike have a shared experience, without going too far into details out of respect for that individual, where we were reached out to via LinkedIn and asked if we could basically set up a one-to-one, if we could just have a time to chat.
And for insight, for anyone who doesn't know the one-to-one lingo, very common in local networking, where the point is not that you go in and you just pitch your services, but you take time to sit down with a fellow business owner, get to know their business, get to understand what it is that they offer, so that you can refer clients to them and build partnerships in that way. And that's how an effective one-to-one happens.
Right. And they're looking at the long game, not the quick sale. Like one-to-ones are very, it's honestly, one-to-ones are part of how Mike and I became connected in the first place, over the course of a couple of years. So that this person reached out, and used the name of one of our fellow peers to get us to have the conversation. But the conversation was not the, hey, like, let's get to know each other. Let's learn more about our business, learn how we can help each other, that sort of thing. It was pull out pitch deck, show you things, sign on the dotted line here. And it was very, no, that sort of experience. I don't know if that went exactly I don't know if that's exactly how it went for you, but that's how it went for me. Yeah,
because it was disingenuous, right? To say, because the conversation before the meeting was very much, hey, I want to, let's get to know each other, right? Understand a little bit more about what we do. And then when you get to the meeting, it's a hard sell. Yeah. Right. And I've been in local networking for 6 years now, 7 years. And so I've had that experience happen a few times. It's few and far between, but like you said, don't trick people into it.
Well, because what happens, and look, here's the negative thing about being, if this person had just been, I want to show you my stuff so that you potentially could buy something, I may or may not have taken that meeting, but I would not have a negative impression.
Yeah.
And I also, basically by approaching it in that manner, it has eliminated any possibility that I would connect them to anybody else. Exactly. So that has very much harmed them, because I've been in local networking for like 4 years now. I have a pretty extensive network in the area that they were trying to get a hold of. And because of that experience, I would not risk my reputation by connecting somebody to them using my name.
Yeah.
And so that's why, if you're honest with your intentions and somebody can make an informed decision, they're not going to feel any sort of way about it. They're just going to say yes or no. But if you trick someone, you create bad will. Exactly.
And there's a digital equivalent to this.
Yeah.
And that is the low offer. I'm going to call it lead magnet, though it's not really a lead magnet, right? But it's like take my low offer $29 course, which ends up being a sales pitch for a higher item.
Yeah, the low ticket offer.
Yeah. I wouldn't call it a low ticket offer, because it ends up not being an offer that people think they're getting value out of it, but really they're getting a pitch.
Oh, see, I actually have done that method for my business before.
Okay.
No, I have.
Tell me about that.
Okay, but we're
going on uncharted waters here. Liz went to the dark side
immediately. No. Okay, so here's the thing. There's a difference in how you approach it. So if you are not genuine and direct about what a low ticket offer has in it, then it is that.
Mm-hmm.
It is, again, about the informed decision, right?
Sure.
So for me, it was, I created a content calendar for the home and trades industry.
Uh-huh.
And it had content ideas specific to home and trades and what I know about home and trades for 3 months or something like that. And it was like $17, something in that realm. And, but that's all it said. It wasn't like it was a, like, know what to post for the next 90 days sort of offer. Now, once they bought that, I did have an offer, and there's like, do you want to know something more specific and tailored to your unique business? Then you can book this offer, which is more tailored to you because it has my time that was more expensive. So I think there's a okay way to do that, and there's also a crud way to do that. So
I think we're talking about different things, though.
Because
what you provided some value with them for them, right? You provided, here's the content calendar with ideas and whatnot. I think that's very different from buying something. Basically, buy the opportunity to sit on me pitching you. Right. If instead of providing that content, you had said, hey, you're going to sit on you're going to buy a $29 free webinar, and the webinar is you sitting there selling them on your high offer without providing any value.
Oh, okay. Yep. That is very different than the thing I did. They're called the same thing, which I think is how people, that might even be how people get caught in.
That's why I said I wouldn't really call it a lead magnet. I don't know exactly what the nomenclature for it would be, because people don't use it, maybe not purposely. There's not a name, right? They call it a lead magnet, but it's not. Lead magnet is where you provide something of value in exchange for their information, and a low ticket offer is where you provide a certain value. But I can't think of the name for. See,
I've never been sold one of those. I've attended quite a few of them for free on accident, thinking I was getting, but I wasn't upset because I didn't pay for it. I mean, I was a little annoyed because I spent the time, but I wasn't like, you know what I mean? Also, what do you expected? Yeah. But I've never accidentally bought one of those. So that's, okay. So but that is different because I at least did give them the thing they paid for.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
If you're going to be, selling something to people, then provide some value to them.
Yeah. That does come back to don't trick people. Yeah. I mean, the crux of that is
trick people.
Don't trick people. Yeah. Just be honest with people. I know that sounds ridiculous, but your service or product is good enough that you do not have to trick someone into buying it.
Exactly.
You can just offer it to them.
Yeah. And maybe that's why people feel a little bit dirty, to our point earlier about marketing and whatnot, is because
feels like a trick.
It feels like you're tricking people into it, and it's not.
That feels like some imposter syndrome stuff that needs to be worked on internally.
Exactly. Yeah, imposter syndrome's a good one. That's probably why a lot of people have hesitation doing marketing, right, and putting the word out there about what they're doing.
Yeah.
They might feel like, oh, what if someone else sees it who is at a higher level than I am, has more experience, or, And
I think the thing about that is people who are experts in their field and doing the work, as long as you are not lying, in general, they never look down on people who are trying.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we forget, because it's like, there are people who have way more experience in marketing than either of us. I mean, that's a thing that exists. Mm-hmm. And none of them, if they see our stuff or see this podcast, are going to look at this and go, because they're not. It's going to go, oh.
If you're thinking, comment below.
But with a negative tone. His sounded too positive.
Comment below.
But seriously though, that's not a thing people who are doing well do.
And it's also I think it's a very simple-minded way to think of things, because it's considering there's someone who's better at marketing than we are, which absolutely there are, but marketing is not a single thing.
No.
Right? So they might be more experienced in a certain area and not as much in others, or they might have an experience with a certain niche, a certain type of business or whatnot. I mean, I'm not a big superlative guy, so I like thinking of things more, I don't know, But, you know,
No, I mean, I have worked with marketing agencies that have been in business longer than I've been alive.
yeah.
Right. And they come to me because of my specific insights in social and how to apply that to social.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So objectively, if we were to do superlatives, they are better,
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote, than me. But they want my insights and stuff on my perspective on this particular area
Mm-hmm.
because it's what I'm good at.
Yeah.
So it's very, it's not, yeah, sorry. It's just, it does make me a little sad that is something that people have to get through because I want them to get through it because I want to see your awesome thing, and I'm not going to see your awesome thing if you're not willing to share what your awesome thing is.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
We're getting into the weeds again.
We are. I'm sorry. So we have listed on here. We have. The common marketing practice you'd encourage small business owners to rethink or avoid.
Oh, we talked about that one. Go one lower.
We didn't talk about the timeshare thing.
Oh, I didn't talk about time. That was the example I was going to give. When the person who does like who does a little bit of that trick or you know, with the timeshare, you know, when I went on my honeymoon, they sat us down we went to a hotel and they said, do you want to sit down on a timeshare presentation? If you do, you'll get free tickets to go to where we went, like whale watching or something. But at least in that case, we knew what we were getting out of it.
It was honest.
It was honest. Right, we got something out of it. It was uncomfortable, and especially being young, we kind of felt like, oh, maybe we need to get good feedback and be like, oh, this sounds interesting. With the guy that called his manager, and like he thought he was getting the sale, and I was like, no, we're not buying this. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
But at least it was honest in that, you know, if we sat through that presentation, we could go whale watching and have a few drinks later. We never saw a whale, which was disappointing. But
well, I don't think that was their fault.
Yeah, I could argue.
We didn't see a whale, so we need another present.
They didn't pay the whales in fish.
Yeah, so the takeaway from all of those examples, though, and kind of maybe me venting a little bit more than I should have, is that like honesty and leading with integrity and just being transparent is the most important thing when it comes to authentically selling in your marketing. If you're just telling the truth, if you're just laying the options out there, there's nothing to be afraid of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how are we going to overcome some of the hesitation with doing self-promotion?
Okay. So when it comes to self-promotion and self-promotion feeling icky or uncomfortable, there is, as we've mentioned repeatedly, this honesty and authenticity piece. There is also a muscle that needs to be flexed because starting anything new is hard. And when it comes to social media, I hear all the time, I hate seeing videos of myself. I hate hearing myself talk. I just feel gross and that sort of thing. That's a muscle issue, really, a practice issue. So what I recommend to my clients is going on to their stories for Instagram or Facebook and shooting a talking head video and sharing what their product is and posting that there. And doing that on a regular basis, like multiple times a week. If you use stories otherwise, you could do it every day. But if it's all you use your stories for, then multiple times a week. Because then you get into the practice of doing it and publishing it in a way that you don't have to see over and over again because it disappears after 24 hours.
Fair enough.
So it's a muscle that you have to practice so that when you do sit down to actually do the video, you're not shaking in your boots the same way that you would be if you were... for the first video, I need to sit down, then it's going to publish. And then what if people see it? And what if people think? Like that sort of thing. We can kind of tackle that a little bit at a time with short form temporary content.
Yeah. That's a great point. And I know that's something that like you've helped me with is when it comes to like doing the videos, right? And you sat there through me going like, nope, let's do this over. Oh crap, I said the wrong thing. And just getting more and more comfortable with myself until it's like, yes, despite the fact that, you know, I've spoken in front of audiences and, you know, taught classes with like 20 students who looked at me giving me the, you know, Gen Z stare.
Excuse you.
And all that, like, it's still like when you put that camera in front of me, I was like, oh, gosh, okay. Because sometimes for me, I had this vision of some of these videos some of the videos that I see are a little bit more polished, or, you know, there's no ums or ahs, and, you know, people are perfectly centered, positioned in a way that the captions can go here or there. And so, you know, that just got into my head a lot versus just giving myself room to be myself.
Yeah.
And to get more and more comfortable with it. And to the point where, like, I was sharing this with a friend the other day, I'm like, when I'm recording social media videos, I can do, you know, over 10 a day, because I'm just kind of getting comfortable with, like, having it not being perfect, having little mistakes, making fewer mistakes over time, and just understanding more the rationale of the hooks, and, you know, how to break things down in a way that is simple. And it's, like you said, it's a muscle. You just get used to it.
Yeah, it's the same thing as, like, a lot of people, they're great in person. They can even speak on stages and things like that, like what you were talking about. But then you put any sort of recording device in front of them, and every single competent thought they've ever had goes out goes out the window immediately. And then they feel, and it becomes this really negative experience because they're trying to force something to happen that makes them really uncomfortable. And this might sound a little crazy, but I used to be that way. It was several years ago, but I used to be that way. I have hundreds and hundreds of drafts where I said things and they never went anywhere because I just could not get myself comfortable. Now I'm down to like 2 or 3 takes at most, because I am okay with a little more meanness showing than maybe some people are, which is fine. I'm not judging if you're doing takes over and over again. I want you to feel comfortable, but the stories, the short form, the regular, the more you do it, the less is going to evaporate from your noggin, and the more you're going to be able to just show up.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So just get started. Try it out. Now, what about storytelling? How important is storytelling when it comes to making marketing feel natural, feel approachable, feel like something that's going to help you grow your business?
Okay, so I want to talk about storytelling, actually, a little bit, because I feel like it's become a buzzword, like how strategy is a buzzword. And then we don't actually talk about what storytelling is.
Okay.
I think that's because I hear it all the time. Like if I'm scrolling through social and I'm looking at like competitors or potential collaborators, if I want to be more positive about it, and what they're doing. And I hear, well, you need to tell stories. You need to use storytelling. And then it's like, and what?
Combine your storytelling with the strategy, and then boom.
And then you've got it. You're golden. You're good to go. Episode closed. No, like that's just so when you think about stories being told in marketing, what makes a story in the first place? Like before we even talk about how it helps with sales.
Structure.
Okay.
I think structure for me is a big part of storytelling that helps connect. I think of I like telling stories to my friends. Right? If there's like I got a couple of funny things that have happened through my lifetime, and I have that dialed down to the bit where I know, like, oh, people are gonna gasp here, they'll laugh there, and so yeah, this is terrible here.
Go for it. No.
You embellish things a little bit here and there. You know, it's you position it in the way that is gonna help that story, or in this case, you know, when you're talking about business, helping your business to connect with the audience. Right. So you should know what are the things that are important for them to hear. When should they hear them? What is going to keep their attention? And that's why I think about structure, both when it comes to social or when it comes to the website. Right. If you're talking about a reel and a video having, you know, certain built in a way that you attract their attention, that you retain their attention, and then that you pay it off so that they feel satisfied after they're done with that experience. Yeah. And I think similarly on the website and other sides of marketing, you want to have structure to where people feel like they got what they wanted out of it, right? But you also want to keep their attention.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. When it comes to social, a lot of times, like I want one thing that people, okay, so I absolutely love this creator, and she doesn't, from my understanding, from my memory, she doesn't sell anything. She's one of those personal brand type deals that she gets affiliate marketing and things like that, but she's not like, she doesn't have like a business she's pitching. For some context, but she does this really interesting video format. I may have mentioned her before because I am absolutely obsessed with her. It's called, her handle is Simon Sits, and she fosters dogs, which is something I do, which is why I like it so much. But she she does a very good job of the beginning, middle, and end of every video. Because a lot of the times we feel the need to tell the most important thing or the conclusion first and then justify it after the fact. And sometimes that works with certain types of content, but a lot of stories, she'll start it with, this is this thing that's going on right now. And there's no illusion. Like, obviously, it's already happened. You're not watching her in real time. Like, this is a video she has shot and edited and published later, right? Because that's how marketing works. That's how social media works.
Yeah.
And so she talks about that. And then we get these clips of like things happening throughout the day. And at the very end, we get the conclusion of what happened. You have to watch all the way to the end of the video to know what happened. And the caption doesn't give it away either.
Okay.
And so it's this really cool storytelling framework of this beginning, middle, and end where you create the tension, you create the problem, and then you show her working through it, and it builds until something starts to get better. And then you have the conclusion at the end where the tension is done because you have gotten what you wanted. You got that payoff.
Okay.
And I think that's done incredible. She's just so good at it. I don't know. But there's even like a lot of our lifestyle creators are doing a very similar thing where like they'll literally take you grocery shopping with them. Something that I personally hate. I cannot stand going grocery shopping. So why on earth would I enjoy watching somebody else go grocery shopping? And it's because, I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's because of that storytelling framework of that you hook me in the beginning, you're running errands and that sort of thing. And then you bring me along for the journey. And that can be applied to your business marketing too.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. I think that we get a little stuck with storytelling. So it is structure, I think, as well that I'm looking at. I think that they do it so well. I don't know. I don't know.
And there's frameworks out there like StoryBrand, which, are built for structuring things in a particular way.
Yes.
Right. And I think we've talked about it before, where StoryBrand is all about positioning your customer or client as the hero of the story, which if you like from the very start, if you're thinking of your business, right, and you're saying that the client is the hero, that puts you in a different mindset. You are the mentor, they are the hero.
Yes.
And so that's going to mean that your headlines are written in a certain way, your videos are recorded in a certain way, any advertising that you do is just going to be approached from a different perspective.
Okay. No, I like that.
And that's one of several frameworks that are out there. I think you got to play with them and choose the one that feels true for your brand.
Yeah. But telling stories, even if the story ends or even begins with a sale, it takes a lot of that out of it. Like it takes a lot of the ick part of that out of it because you're entertained and you're providing, even like storytelling itself is a value that you're adding because it's entertainment. It's like the people I was talking about, I'm like obsessed with their stuff and they have nothing to do with me. Like it's a very like, that story itself is value. So even if you have a sales thing in it and they don't want that sale, they still are likely to see value in the story itself. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. It's entertainment. That's what a lot of brands are finding. That's a path to grow.
Yeah.
It's not just about the service or what you're doing. It's how are you building that audience? How are you captivating? How are you getting people to go through that journey with your brand and become advocates and champions for you? And so you got to connect with them. And this is where we take a little pause to read questions.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's a lot of questions on here.
There's a lot of questions, and we are over time. Do we want to go to the wrap up?
Yeah, let's hop into the wrap up.
No, you want to keep going? I mean, we can keep going.
I mean, we did restart on here a couple of times. We're not as far over as we think we are.
Fair enough.
But okay, so
never mind. We'll keep going. Hey.
Well, let's skip into what is your favorite easy to implement marketing tactic that businesses can try right away. Let's skip to that one.
So I think email is a big one, right? If you have already been collecting emails, then please use them, right? Connect with folks, start maybe providing some of the value, telling some stories, sharing some experiences that customers have had with your business via email. I think that is low-hanging fruit, that high ROI, and it is a muscle that you're going to, if you're doing it yourself, you're going to need to start to grow and understand and measure to see what works and what doesn't. So start it right away. That's a big one for me.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. For me, I think email as well. I think email is a big thing. I also think that, especially if you're a small local business, like particularly if you are a small local business, local networking is a good way to jumpstart your stuff because it can augment the other things that you are doing.
Yeah.
So local networking is a big way that you can start getting some quicker return on your investment so that you can continue to invest into things that are more scalable than local networking. Because local networking is great, but there are a finite number of places you can be and a finite number of hours that you can spend on it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a good place to start. And I don't think you should necessarily stop, but you won't. I mean, I guess you could hire sales reps, but like most people don't.
It's not very scalable.
Yeah, it's not scalable.
But the idea with it is that you're going to these networking events, and the way that you're going to grow is not by selling to the room, but it's by selling through the room. So you build partnerships.
Yes.
Right. You find people like Liz and I found each other on networking groups, and then now, I can refer her to my clients. You can refer me to her clients, or to people in her network who may or may not be clients. Right. And that's the idea of how you grow with local networking, which I agree. It's a great, easy to implement strategy because you start going, you start doing it, and then it's going to help you develop some of the muscles like standing up and speaking, which will help you with, feel more comfortable recording videos and breaking down the benefits of your services, listening to questions people ask, which you can then turn and build into FAQs. So it's very beneficial.
Absolutely. All right, so now let's move into our wrap up questions to get this tied in. Thank you for hanging with us for this long. What is one thing that businesses can try immediately to start marketing their business more comfortably?
So if you haven't done this already, I want you to start building that customer profile. Think who your ideal customer is, who your most frequent customer type is if you have an existing business, and map out who they are. What are their values, principles? What do they like to do? What are some of their habits? And then how they came to your business. What needs are you fulfilling? What's the value they're getting out of there? And how, if you have a customer who is a true champion or an advocate who keeps referring you to business, map out how that came to be. Interview them if that's the case, if you're able to, right? I think if you do that, and you keep that in a spot that you can refer back to it, and every marketing initiative that you have, just ask, would this ideal customer like this? Would it resonate with them or not?
Yeah, I like that. I think that's good.
Now, if everyone can only remember one thing from today's discussion, Liz, what should it be?
One thing. So at the end of the day, your marketing and your sales they're not about what you want. They're about what the customer needs, which is why authenticity and not tricking people and showing up with value matters so much, because you should be thinking about serving them, not about serving you.
It's very well put.
And I guess to wrap this up, what is one question a small business owner should regularly ask themselves to make sure that their marketing stays genuine?
Make sure you're staying true to yourself, to your customers. Always put them first, and perform audits regularly. Meaning, go back and review things. Right? Is your marketing still working for those customers, or is the messaging still something that resonates for that? Did your ideal customer change over time, right? As your business has evolved, has that changed? If so, then does your marketing still stay true to them or not?
Yeah, I like that. I think it's really, really important to make sure that you are regularly looking at the things that you are doing, because it gets easy to let things slip. It gets easy to let things drop or slide. And so doing structured, regular audits of stuff is a very good way to make sure that doesn't happen.
Audits are a good thing.
Yes, they are. Well, as long as I'm not going to say that out loud.
No, don't say it 3 times.
No. All right. Well, with that, thank you for joining us for episode 7, and I look forward to talking to you in the next one.
See you next time.